Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 United States Grand Prix weekend is just about to commence. We are literally 3 and a bit hours away from the first and only practice session because it's the sprint weekend. And the biggest question that's on everybody's mind is, will Oscar Piastri put Lando Norris in the wall, shove him off the track to take revenge for what happened in Singapore? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Gravel Podcast. I'm your host with the most, and today we will discuss the beginning of Oscar Piastri's revenge arc, in which he will adopt the Max Verstappen way in battling his teammate, starting from the United States Grand Prix. So basically, I'll give you a little bit of context. From the start of 2025 Formula 1 season, McLaren Formula 1 team has been sucking the fun out of the title fight. They have been policing the drivers. They are their own stewards. They have their own racing regulations, which are known by papaya rules, which means don't be too aggressive with your teammate. That's basically is it. Now in Singapore, things changed. In Singapore, Lando Norris was not playing by the papaya rules. He was too aggressive with Oscar Piastri. Within the racing guidelines, obviously, within the guidelines of FIA, it was a legal move, it was an aggressive move, fun to watch, etc., etc. But according to what we have been led to believe regarding papaya rules, it was not related to that. The image that you are seeing is the moment in which Lando Norris overtook Oscar Piastri in Singapore, and he made a bit of a contact with Oscar Piastri. So Oscar Piastri is pretty pissed off. He is pretty pissed off about the contact that Lando had initiated in Singapore Grand Prix 2025, and he is looking to take revenge. And I can say that with certainty because I was listening to the press conferences of Lando and Oscar, and I was comparing their responses. Oscar Piastri was sounding a bit disingenuous. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that word, but whatever was coming out of Oscar Piastri's mouth, I found it hard to believe. Basically, Piastri said something along the lines of, yes, we have taken it internally and the framework is upheld and the team acknowledged it and blah blah blah, and I will not go and change my racing style because we have had that discussion. I call that bullshit. On the Lando side, Lando said that I have had repercussions, I faced consequences from the team, which again is bullshit. Because the only consequence that matters in Formula 1 is the points that are given to you at the end of Sunday. That's basically it. It doesn't matter what happens in Monday meetings. I think it was Sebastian Vettel who said this. It doesn't matter what discussions happen in Monday debriefs because the points are always given on Sunday. So anyway, both Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris sound like a bunch of PR trained parrots, but obviously Oscar Piastri will fully aim to shove Norris off the track in the United States Grand Prix in the Circuit of the Americas, and Lando Norris, despite what he says, did not face any kind of consequences. What consequences do you think McLaren will give him? Seriously. Because during the race, when he made that overtake, the team didn't say anything to him. The team didn't say that, okay, that was too aggressive, you hit your teammate, that's not how we go racing. The team did not say anything to him during the race. And that's where you should have said, because that's when the incident happened. Each time Oscar Piastri gets too close to Lando, when mounting an attack or whatever it is, we immediately hear from the radio, from the pit wall, advising Oscar that, hey Oscar, remember how we go racing, don't be too crazy. And Oscar acknowledges immediately. He gives I mean, he is very safe when attacking Lando Norris, but Norris didn't hear any of that. So I guess the consequence or the repercussions on the behalf of Norris that I'm assuming is that when Zach Brown gives his obligatory blowjobs to Lando Norris, he did not make eye contact. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. Like the only kind of consequence. I guess Lando Norris is a bit emotionally hurt. He got the blowjob without the emotional connection. I guess that's the only thing. But speaking of the racing situation in Circuit of the Americas, it's very likely going to happen. And earlier I made a video about what Oscar needs to do in order to kickstart his revenge arc. The first thing he needs to do is he needs to beat Lando Norris by 20 seconds every race from now till the end of the season. He needs to do that. Not only till the end of the season, but for how long, however long they are teammates, Oscar Piastri needs to beat Lando Norris by at least 10 seconds, like at the checkered flag. He needs to do that. He needs to dominate and break the spirit of Lando Norris, because that's the only way he can hurt Zach Brown and Andrea Stella, because, you know, like they're gonna be hurt if Lando is broken, because Lando is their poster boy. You know what I mean? And Lando is just gonna get caught in the line of fire. I think Lando is a nice person, but you know, it is what it is. The second thing that Piastri needs to do is he needs to show Andrea and Zach that he will be aggressive whenever it's necessary, because now the Constructors' Championship is sealed, and if you go ahead and shove your teammate off the track, one of you gets a puncture, the other guy gets a little bit of front wing damage to his end plate, no big deal, because the Constructors is sealed. You know, it's all about the championship right now. It's all about the Drivers' Championship. So I guess that's what Oscar Piastri needs to do the second time. And the third thing what Oscar Piastri needs to do is, after he wins the world title in the 2025 Formula 1 season, he needs to say on the radio, "Not bad for a second driver." I'm sorry, not bad for the number 2 driver. That's what he needs to say. He needs to repeat Mark Webber's iconic line from the press conference from sometime in 2010. He needs to say that. Oscar Piastri, after taking the checkered flag, or like in whichever race he wins the world championship, in whichever race he seals it, he needs to say on the radio, "Not bad for a number 2 driver." Because that's going to be funny, that's going to be entertaining, and it's going to set the tone for the upcoming Formula 1 seasons. People will know who is the Chad. And if a driver with 4 years less experience beats Lando Norris, then it's going to be proven that Lando is shit. And it's not that Lando is shit, it's just that he has not improved much. You know, he had pace and he has only improved in terms of his race pace management, but his overtaking skills have largely remained where they were from like 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like when he was teammates with Carlos Sainz and, you know, he was fighting with a bunch of backmarkers and midfielders. I think that Lando Norris, like his overtaking skills and today's Lando Norris's overtaking skills are largely the same. You know, he hasn't improved that much. Anyway, Oscar Piastri but he will, if the opportunity arises, he will 100% crowd Lando Norris off the track, kind of like in 2015. In 2015 Formula 1 season, in the United States Grand Prix, Nico Rosberg was shoved off the track by Lewis Hamilton on lap 1, turn 1. Lap 1, turn 1, it happened. 2 teammates fighting for the world title. Lewis Hamilton was leading the championship. He started P2, shoved his teammate off the track, went ahead to win the race, won the championship. Now, Oscar Piastri, if he wins the race in Austin, I doubt he's going to seal the world championship, but he will definitely get some much needed lead over his contenders, or like over his championship rivals, namely in Norris and Verstappen. But Oscar Piastri is now the championship leader. Lando Norris is his teammate. Looks like these two guys are going to qualify P1 and P2 in whichever order. Last year Norris had pole, didn't win, but last year Norris had pole. This year Verstappen also looks strong, so he will be in place, so I guess we will see about that. But if Oscar Piastri manages to be P2 in qualifying, lines up on the front row, and Lando Norris P1, you can fully expect the Australian Championship leader to send one down the inside, take a wider exit, not exit, but like a wider entry, take a very wide entry into turn 1, shove his teammate, crowd him off the track, and steal the lead of the race. That's what's going to happen, and we're going to love it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.